Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're looking at the Ronin Katana Fantasy Longsword version 2. See this very interesting cross guard that we have. This thing is pretty large. Take a look at some specs, up close looks, and a little bit of cut testing with this one from Ronin. Okay, starting off with first impressions on this one. Let's look at some general overviews of this. So first of all, this is a fantasy longsword. So this is not from any specific culture. It's kind of open to interpretation. There's kind of elements of really like a rapier, side sword, and also longsword, obviously from the length. This being a little bit over 47 inches of overall length, you're looking at a whole lot of range. You know, if you were to hold that out where you are controlling the center, or if you are into more of a higher guard as well off of cuts. So we're looking at function of that. This is the scabbard. This is a wood cord leather bound scabbard that has multiple notches in order for you to run a sword belt and a sword frog to carry this. So those little bumps you're seeing are the wood that's carved out, usually the wood that's carved out, so you can carry this if that was something that you wanted to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing down. This is a 1075 high carbon steel. They have a very similar, it's almost identical to a lot of Irish swords that you see. This is kind of a signature thing with Irish swords where the pommel will be hollow and you'll actually see the tang. I'm sure there's a lot of function to that as well, because then you can switch blades out, you can make sure things are not getting loose and stuff like that. But on top of that, to my knowledge, this is a signature thing with Irish swords, even though this is obviously categorized as a fantasy sword. So we have a double-handed grip, so you have plenty of room for both hands. It's obviously wood cord and it's leather wrapped, and you have stitching on the back. There's nothing loose on the stitching, nothing weird with that or anything to really write home about that. I like the shape of the handle because it's not as circular as much as it is flat. So you can see how it kind of ribs out. So whoop, slides right in. That way, when you have the cutting edge present, it's already lined up. And then you got two hands on that grip. Or if you were to grab the pommel, especially if you are performing different cuts with this, you're going to still be able to get a lot of leverage on that. Me personally, when I did the cut testing with the water bottles for this month, I used the pommel because I found that to be a really nice counterbalance for the horizontal cut. And then obviously if you're doing reverse cuts, you're going to find a lot of benefit getting that counterbalance with the pommel. Edge, plenty sharp. Whether you were doing this with water bottles, which obviously it's going to go through it, it would have to be unsharpened for it not to go through it. But as far as Ronin's edges, they're, in my experience, and the ones that I've cut with, they've never been like brittle, whether that is cutting with tatami or cutting through water bottles and soft targets and stuff like that. Haven't had any problems with that. It's a 1075 high carbon steel. It's skinny. It's got a diamond cross section on the striking surface, which you'll see more in the up close looks. You probably just see it right now, which is that, you know, where it goes, have that little line going through it, which is going to aid in cutting performance. And it's also just a good blade profile as well. Something that this reminds me of that is not a fantasy sword is a Danish two-handed sword. The only ones that I've personally cut with and also moved around with and held in hands are the Albion ones. I'm not going to say this is of Albion quality. It's $395, and the Albion one is like, I think like $1,400, upwards of $1,400. But as far as the shape goes, they seem to have gotten a lot of influence from Irish swords from the pommel, the Danish sword from the handle, and also from the blade shape of the Danish sword, and even the length as well, because the Danish one has its own unique characteristics as well, but so does this one. So they've done a really unique job with that. The guard is kind of like, it's cool. It's a cool guard. I mean, it's there, so like it'll just protect your hand on thrust, or if you are cutting with it. But again, it's a fantasy sword, so these things are almost intentionally open to interpretation for you. Whether you are going to cut with this, whether you care about the function, you might just like the aesthetic of the guard. That's also totally cool. So that's what they're offering through Ronin Katana with this one, the Fantasy Longsword version 2. I believe version 1 has a more traditional crossguard, where this will go out just horizontally to the left and the right. If you want something a little bit more unique, you might want to pick this one up. We're drawing this back into the scabbard. This is a wood-lined, leather-wrapped scabbard. And it slides in really nicely. So even if you are displaying this on a sword stand, it would also look pretty good on that as well. Let's go ahead and do some up-close looks of this one in the scabbard and out of the scabbard.
Overall length 47 1/8 inch, blade length 35 1/4 inches. Weight is 3 pounds 5 ounces. The edge is sharp with a width of 38.5 millimeters. Thickness is 3 1/8. Pommel's a nut construction with a point of balance of 3 inches from the guard. The grip length is 8.5 inches with a blade steel of 1075 high carbon steel, manufactured by Ronin Katana.
All right, let's take a look at the cut testing with the Ronin Katana Fantasy Sword number 2. All right, so there you have it for the Ronin Katana Fantasy Sword number 2. If you're interested in picking this one up for your collection or for a gift, click the link in the description below this video to buy this one today to add to your collection or to someone else's collection. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments below and what you want to see on the YouTube channel. As always, I'm your host, Tom, for Kult of Athena's YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok and on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.